Hi, my name is Brian Clark. I am a solo indie developer and the creator of The Subject, which you can get on Steam right now. I'm currently working on RC and Outstation. One of the things I wanted to kind of talk about on the heels of the differences between AAA and indie was why I actually left AAA myself. And it's not for the reasons that you usually hear. A lot of people will hear about crunch time being too much and people getting burned out and stuff like that, and that happens a lot, and that stuff is terrible. People worry about studios closing, and they'll either go off on their own to do indie stuff, or they'll do something completely different. But for me, I just decided that after all the time that I had been working in the industry, I had sort of achieved the things that I wanted to achieve. I had gotten into the industry as an environment artist for Mythic Entertainment, working on Warhammer Online. About 3 years working there, I became a senior environment artist and moved on to other studios, and eventually became a lead and did lead stuff for a number of different projects. I was an art director for a bit. I did a very short stint as a producer and development director. So I had finally, over the years, gotten to this point where I was at Disney in a lead position, and I looked and figured out what I could do next, what was really next for me. And I could be an art director on something, but I had already done that. And I could spend the next 20 years, 30 years chasing titles of games and studios and just certain projects that I'd want to work on. And that sounds great. I have nothing against that, but I wanted to do something a little bit more of my own, something that I felt I had more control of. A couple of my major influences growing up in terms of games were Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII were big for me. So and those were years where I was still a preteen, I think. I don't know, like I said, I'm old, but those really introduced me to the storytelling side of games while still being fun and engaging. And I wanted to be like a Hideo Kojima type, right? I mean, who doesn't? But it really sparked this desire in me to try and create something that was really my own. And while working at AAA studios is awesome, and I've worked with some great people, and I've really just had a lot of fun, you don't really get to do that without really kind of grinding your way up the ladder. And even then, if you have an idea, you have to pitch it, and it has to be approved, and decide to put money behind it. And then you're at the mercy of a lot of different people. There's so many different cooks in the kitchen at a large studio, and it's just a different way of operating. Now, there are a lot of things that I absolutely loved about working at AAA studios, and I sort of scratched on them a little bit in the differences video. But aside from the steady paycheck and the social situation that you kind of get from that, there's tons of things that working at a big studio offers. Things like your 401k, your insurance. There's a lot of times there's memberships to gyms. You'll have outings to movies and dinners and parties and stuff like that. There's cool launch parties. You go to trade shows for things like E3 or PAX, and you often get to meet up with a lot of people that you've worked with in the past. And that stuff is all really, really great. I loved working at every studio that I had been at. I remember as the project that I was working on at Disney was winding down, or at least the artist role in it was winding down, I had a conversation with my wife on our anniversary about how we had talked about me doing this so many different times throughout my career, and why not just do it now? Because I had made these excuses for myself that I didn't know how to program. Was a huge issue, obviously, right? Especially wanting to go solo for stuff. But as I had said in another video, it was sort of a chicken or the egg kind of thing, where I was like, well, I can't leave to do this stuff on my own until I know how to program, and I can't learn how to program until I've got more time on my own. But that was really the tipping point. We had been saving up money and everything. It was just just to do that and be responsible adults. But we looked at how much money there was and decided that it was worth the risk, because I had also had Welcome to the Game 2 lined up with Reflect Studios as a potential for working on something. And that was when things sort of clicked together, was looking at a more established project in the indie world and having a potential to work on that, and having some savings saved up and this desire from over the years to kind of take more of a risk. And I really hadn't been doing that my entire career. I hadn't really been taking any risks. I had always been sort of half in and half out of this pool of, am I going to do art? Am I going to do a more technical thing like a higher role development director or something like that? Or do I want to do my own stuff? And I was always dabbling around in things. So that's why I left AAA. I feel like there's a lot of negativity associated with larger studios right now, and understandably so. There's been a lot of shady stuff and a lot of closures and all kinds of things happening that are upsetting to see. But I also wanted to share sort of a positive side of why at least I feel it's positive. It's a huge risk, and who knows where I'm gonna go down this path. But I wanted to share why AAA is actually pretty awesome, and at the same time share why you could want to leave for something other than being burnt out or being over the standard, or just being overall sick of your work and wanting to do something else. I've actually had a really positive experience my whole time, and this was just sort of the next logical step for me as far as I felt. And who knows where it's gonna go, but it's been fun so far, and it's been really nice being able to feel like I'm sort of stretching out and working other creative muscles that hadn't been worked on at all, or I didn't even know were there. And I owe a lot of that to you guys too, people that stop by here and watch, which I really, really appreciate. So before I drag this out anymore, usual things, if you got questions, comment down below. I am more than happy to answer. If you've seen other videos, I try to take the time to address individual people. If you want to talk more about this stuff or have other questions and want to chat live, have that kind of experience, you can come to the Twitch stream. It's 1 to 5 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. I'm there and I talk with everybody while I'm working, so I'd be happy to see you. Also, stop by the Patreon page and check it out. I know everybody's got one, and I know everybody says it, but it's true that it is one of the best ways to support people that you really believe in the work that they're doing. Also, you get a little something in return, because I'll post things on there that other people don't get to see, or early things like I showed the menu system and some of the music that I'll be using for Outstation on there before other people got to. I actually just posted a bit about the art style and inspiration for it there. Just little things like that. If any of that sounds interesting to you, just stop by. But that's it. I'm done. If you like this, subscribe, like, comment, all the usual things. I will see you guys on the Twitch stream or in the next video. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Love you. Bunches. All that. I have to hold the microphone because the camera is over here and the microphone stand is back here. And I don't have another microphone stand or another microphone.